Today I want to reveal why the Greeks sold the word Democrata. Democrata simply means democracy. Any law in a democratic system is about majority, not about conscience. That is why in the kingdom of heaven, which is not a religion, God says in Psalm 51 verses 10 to 19, our focus should be on create me a clean heart. That is why activities such as business, marriage, and welfare can greatly aided by the Bible because they are specifically addressed in the Bible. So discover why rebellion and active disobedience cause the demise of a society, of course, and a human being. I will give you guidelines on how to protect your family, yourself, and of course your business, and those that God have connected with your destiny. Please stay focused on me for the next few minutes. You know I never fill my podcast with entertainment. I know there's other places for that. I'm only here to give you practical, life-changing message to help you deal with life's challenges. I am David Eyiangho, and I welcome you to this episode of NTSL Wisdom Mining Podcast, a show where I reveal how wisdom impacts your daily life, because success is 80% wisdom. If you have wisdom, you will have your world under your control. Thank you, and I appreciate your investment of your precious time to be part of this show today. I want to ask you once again to subscribe to the show. If you have not done that, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button now. That will be great. It costs you nothing to subscribe, and you can always unsubscribe if you don't get any value from our show. The subscription helps the show rating to reach out to more fathers and mothers globally, as this show is a show dedicated to family and finance, the two best couples in life. Your subscription also means you will get an alert when a new dose of wisdom is available to your family. And secondly, I also want to recommend that you become part of the Happy Warriors Inner Circle by formally becoming a member, and you can do that at ntsl.com/3%, as in 3 and then percent, percent, ntsl.com/3%. So the topic of the show today is Democrata, means Democrata. It is a Greek word, and the title is Democrata, a world without conscience. Democrata simply means democracy. I want to give you the overview of why the Greeks sold the word democracy. I had a 3 hours coaching session marathon sometime last year, and it's amazing. It's something that you need to go back in history, and please listen to it for the sake of your family. The purpose and the primary job of a government in a society on a national level, of course, is to provide economic stability. The government achieves that this crucial function, of course, mainly by exercising financial discipline and not printing more money than the value created by the aggregated economy. This requires strong moral governance because, after all, spending other people's money is just plain fun, and giving money to people encourages them to vote for you. There is no doubt about that. In a functioning nation, workers can accept a job at a certain salary, and vendors can price items for sale, feeling secure that they won't need to argue for a raise or a bump up price tomorrow. Citizens can reliably plan for the future as they buy homes, cars, and other things that they need for their daily life. So let's talk briefly about the three functional structure of a government ordained by the kingdom of heaven. Remember, I told you, kingdom of heaven is not a religion. It's where the creator of everything in the universe lives. Religion is where you have people looking for a God with small letter. I'm not sure where it is. They're searching for it. Some of them are searching for them in millions animals. Dead animals in a few years. Yeah, they're searching for it, including Christian. The Church of Christ is the only avenue authorized to deal with the kingdom of heaven, not Christianity. If you are a Bible scholar, you will know the word Christian is actually a derogatory word, and it only comes about twice in the Bible. So go and check it yourself. But that's what people are advocating every day on TV, newsletter, wherever you go. They use the word Christianity. The ultimate source of redemption is God, not government. I want you to really understand that. But we do need an organized structure of government by which a country can function. This blueprint was given to us by God in Isaiah 33 and 22. I'm going to read from the Hebrew translation. For most of you that happy warriors who follow me for the last 20 years, you will know that I always use the authorized translation. Because there are a lot of issues with so many English translations, King James, a lot of the stuff, they did a good job, but it can be very, very misleading if you're not careful. So most of the time when I'm giving you a Bible verse, I always tell you the nearest translation in English so that you get the context. So Isaiah 33 verse 22 in Hebrew says, "For the Lord is our judge. The Lord is our lawgiver. The Lord is our king. He will save us." So let's just unwrap a few things that is there. Function number one, the Lord is our judge is a branch of a government which is we call today judiciary. Function number two, the Lord is our lawgiver, a branch of the government which is the legislature. Function number three, the Lord is our king. That is the executive branch. We probably hear today president, prime ministers. And out of this came a partial system of government ordained by the kingdom of heaven that has become the world's most durable democratic republic like the USA. So make no mistake, they never adopted the full instruction. They just choose to take what they like. And what they don't like, they just say, no, we rebel against that. We don't want it. The head of any government should supposed to be God, who is in his own person exercises all the functions of government, legislative, judicial, and executive. Thus, he is absolute monarch. No constitution limits his authority, and he receives no counsel from his subjects in any form or shape. A similar government structure was adopted in the United Kingdom. For example, the Bible moral vision for marriage and family was at the heart of that very small nation called United Kingdom. It produced without any shadow of a doubt prosperity and with outstanding global influence and reach that the world has ever known in history. I was a devoted Anglophile. I was completely taken up by the idea that this tiny little island, UK, of the northwestern coast of Europe, has a language which is spoken by a significant proportion of the world population, and it is a developed language that has become the official language of air transport control, tower communication, air traffic control all over the world. It is a country in which, in the middle of the 18th century, the Industrial Revolution launched. But I'm no longer an Anglophile because of the terrible decay that has set in recent years. So when you are a government, for example, in Egypt, Joseph created government laws with tax incentive for the Egyptians. You can read all about it in Genesis 47:23 to 28. For example, Joseph says citizens should be taxed no more than 25% of their income. But there are some parts of the world where taxes are about 50 to 65%. The Bible talks about robbers in society, people who are robbing society. It says, if you don't work for wealth, even if you get that wealth through your parents, relative, or spouse, you are still a thief. That's in Proverbs 28:24. You are robbing the people who gave you the wealth. If you are using someone else's hard-earned money and playing the role of a nice person in charity, you are nothing but a thief. If you are waiting for your parents to die so you can inherit something to spend, you are nothing but a thief. Mother Nature will eventually catch up with you for not producing anything. Proverbs 28:24. I'm reading from the Amplified Version. He who robs his father, his mother, and say, this is no sin, is not only a thief but also the companion of a man who destroys Mother Earth. I'm going to read you another one from Proverbs 28:24, the King James Version. He who robs his father and his mother and says, it is not a transgression, he is the companion of a man who destroys. Ephesians 4:28. He who steals must no longer, but rather he must labor, performing with his own hands what is good, so that he will have something to share with one who needs it. 1 Timothy 5:8. But if any provide not for his own, and specially for those of his own household, he hath denied the faith, the kingdom of God, and is worse than an infidel. So please don't think the infidel is the language invented by some other religion out there. No, infidel is a word in the Bible. If you cannot provide for your home, a man that just get a woman pregnant and disappear. Yeah. Why am I giving you all this? I'm giving you here some examples of how the Bible solves problems in society. It's very, very important. This is how the role of the government interacts with its people. In any society of the world that adopts very little of the Bible moral values, you will normally see deprivations, degradation, financial and economically. The Bible's blueprint for a society works. It has worked for well over 3,000 years since we've been keeping history, keeping records. So, it's proven. And I can step out to say, right now there are about 5,000 cultures out there. There is not one civilization like the so-called Western civilization, which is what I'm talking about. A Bible-based civilization. Go and check it out for yourself. Check their record. Check their proven principles. So, let me tell you a little bit about our God, because I want to set the stage for the title of the show tonight. Our Creator is a sovereign God. He is above everything. He cannot be elected or voted out of office. Jesus said to his disciples, "You did not choose me, I chose you." God, this is very important. This is what is at the heart of rebellion, disobedience. This is what is at the heart of today's freedom. Freedom without restraints leads you straight to destruction. For example, America will not entertain that idea. That is why you never see the reference to God in the American Constitution, which says, "We the people." Yeah, they say "we the people." That means the people will decide on their leader, and they will let them lead for about 4 years. And if they are not happy, they will simply vote them out. If you happen to give more money to a certain area, yeah, do what they like to appease their freedom, to do whatever they like, yeah, they'll vote for you. America adopted the Greek philosophy called Democrata, which is democracy, the government of the people by the people. Please never forget the link between the US and the United Kingdom, and the link between the UK and the Roman Empire, and the link between the Roman Empire and the Greeks. This is where all these things about democracy started from. And like I told you, I did a 3-hour coaching marathon on this very issue, because once you understand history, a lot of things that are happening today will just be plain easy for you to understand. But what America did and what Britain and most of them did was a fatal mistake. That was the fatal mistakes from the birth of America. They just want something that is good in the kingdom of heaven. Anything that they don't like, they say, no, we don't want that one. We want our freedom to do anything, indulge in any sexual activity that we want, that is destructive to a society created for thriving and prosperity and longevity. Yeah, as I said, yes, that was a fatal mistake from the birth of America. A lifestyle without moral guardians, that is what they have chosen. Even though they decided on the structure of the government, the Bible is what they like. In the outset of America, they embraced the Bible's value that prospered that nation of America, and then they decided to move further away from those values until today. Is there any surprise what is happening right now in America in 2024? No, no surprise. Like I said, when you go back in history, you know what happened. You know what all the societies in the past have burnt down. The Roman empires, Constantine Empire, the Persian Empire, all of them. It's exactly the same thing. Like I say, if you decide on freedom without restraints, all roads goes to Rome. The Bible teaches that business and commerce are God's way of incentivizing us to be obsessively preoccupied with His other children's needs and desire. That's why God put it here. You often hear me say that business and commerce is a symptom of impending cultural extinction. This is because the very same book that teaches me that restaurants that don't delight their diners will go out of business. The same book also teaches me that societies that do not enforce justice, for example, are not long in this world. Yes, the Bible teaches that business and service are God's way of incentivizing us to be obsessively preoccupied with other God's needs and desire. The Bible also teaches that it is not enough to install justice and speak of it constantly. No, that means of enforcing justice must also be installed if you wish for any societal durability. Here is a Bible verse that speaks to this effect. I'm just giving you a couple of things to think about, because if I want to really take you from A to Z, we're going to be here for the next 2,000 years. Just giving you the essential. First, I talked to you about freedom without restraints. I'm going to talk to you about how we regulate society for safety and longevity. So here is a Bible verse that speaks to that effect. Judges and policemen you shall place in all of your gates. Of course, that is a biblical Hebrew translation from Deuteronomy 16 verse 18. The King James translation as follows. It says, Judges and officers shall thou make thee in all their gates. The King James translation is correct on judges, but too unassertive with officers. After all, a magistrate is an officer of the law, but he is no bully armed policeman. And Deuteronomy 16 verse 18 is very, very clear on policemen. The Hebrew word for policeman is SHTR. Clearly means someone with the physical means and the communal authority to exert power and enforce the rulings of justice. That's what it means. There is no doubt about it. A justice system that does not enforce its ruling is no justice system at all. And without a justice system, any group of people will cease to be unified people. A society that deploys its police more frequently against law-abiding citizens than against the increasingly aggressive criminals infesting its cities cannot long continue. Several very bad outcomes could be imagined, but it is just possible, not likely, but possible, that the good citizens of this society might awaken from their slumbers and retake the reign of the government, restoring real justice for all, and thereby assuring the durability of their society and culture. As nature's laws keep the world of things in check, is there anything to keep the world of ideas in check? The answer is yes. There is the Bible. Perhaps its main function is to provide barriers to bad ideas. Because if you want everything free, you want no restraints, you are in trouble. The Bible said, "Thou shalt not murder," is an important good idea. It announces that all human life is valuable and that individuals cannot place themselves above others. There's another verse says, "Thou shalt not steal." It's another important good idea. It forces a respect for the property of all people, contradicting the idea that certain people or group are entitled to the results of other people's labor. The scripture is filled with countless examples of how the world really works in all areas of human interaction: welfare, economic, business affairs, male-female relationship, and even about dying. Historically, those nations of the world that have allowed their ideas to be influenced and constrained by the Bible have tended to flourish. Those nations, either ignorant of Scripture or defiant, rebellion, disobedience, have tended to fail, usually sunk by the weight of silly ideas. You just go back in history. I've given you the list. Roman Empire, Greek Empire, all of them. British Empire. Have you ever had a high-flying ideas that fell to the ground when it hit reality? I want you to think about that. Yeah, because people just wake up in the morning, I have this great idea. They take it on TV. It goes on social media. Yeah. Think about it. Think about it in your own orbit, your own circle, even maybe by yourself. The Torah is neither a history book or a book of stories. Torah, the Bible, is God's blueprint for directing us to understand and live a successful life in reality. God even gave us a system of human interaction. Remember, we talked about, He gave us the government. We talked about crime. We talked about how we take care of ourselves. He gave us how humans are supposed to interact. The system of human organization is God's plan for human interaction. This means that you make sure that you have friends and make sure you have family build a family. The friendship part is why God created separate nations in the world instead of making all humans part of one big group. Several chapters of Genesis are devoted to showing how God's plan for each nation to experiment with its own ideas of how human cooperation should best be structured. And Israel was presented with a biblical blueprint and with the mission to share it with the world, which was done through the Church of Christ. Not religion. Yeah, religion called themselves doing that, but no, something different. Go to Genesis chapter 10, verses 5. Of these were islands of nations divided into their lands, every one after his language of his families, and after their nations. Yes, if you read the other translation, you might be very confused. In other words, islands, not literally islands, but the word is used in the context that the Hebrew word is an island of nations. And what that means is every nation should develop in its own cultural island. It should find out what works best for it, and along the way come along and knock on the door of the Judeo-Christian tradition, knock at the door of Christian souls, which is the Church of Christ, in order to discover the way to organize human beings, not as chaos and anarchy, but through centralized planning and or tyrannical regime, but tribally, but through Judeo-Christian system. God's vision for mankind is that of a social model of Judeo-Christian thinking. And so God set up a system. As I said, Genesis chapter 10 verse 5, the island of nations, where different people in their own group could experiment as much as they wanted. Our wealth is in other people. It is not that other people means you have less. All you have is only because you are living and connected with other people. It is only because we subscribe to a common system of values with other people. And that allows us to communicate, cooperate, and above all, trust one another. That is God's perfect system for mankind. Perfect system of organization and interaction for mankind. Let me just sort of digress briefly here and note something very important, and that is about a financial system called the crypto. Crypto world is a creative, common blockchain-based system that allows all people to communicate and cooperate, above all, trust one another. This is cunningly similar to Judeo-Christian model for the world of connected many nations, trading with one another, trusting one another, doing transactions with people you don't know, the default peace, prosperity, and free market model. This is something for you to take note about. It is amazing, because I remember very well in 2020 when I started to talk to people about what is really at the core of the crypto universe. Yeah. And the few people that were around my coaching and my free webinar during that time, they're coming back and say, Dave, yeah, I never listened to you. I said, well, I don't want to get to a situation where I was saying I told you, but this is what we've been talking about. You need to have an idea in reality. an idea that any human being, whether they live in India, they live in Africa, in the US, they are connected by the internet, they can create wealth as those billionaires that have been ruling the world for centuries. That's what God wanted. Western civilization, which grew from those societies which adopted Christianities, which in itself adopted Judaism, the faith of Israel. It is no surprise that over 90% of the scientific discovery and the medical advances, yes, more than 90% in the past 1100 years, came from Christendom, an old-fashioned word for Western civilization. I like the word, yes. Over 90% of the scientific discovery of the last 1100 years came out of countries that are Christian countries, or we are Christian countries. At the same time, I want to establish that no capital market ever emerged indigenously from any non-Christian country. Capital market that is in the form of stock exchange, London, Amsterdam, where most of it started, and today you find them, of course, all over the place. But that was the whole idea. That is God's design, that people should see how well the system works and voluntarily, not at the point of a sword, but voluntarily adopt it. Well, they certainly are trying to adopt the prosperity port, but they fail to adopt the powerful fuel, the spiritual energy that drives the creative engine. As I launch this podcast, let me talk a bit about obedience to laws. Because this is where all these things started. Americans, they don't want to be governed by God because they want their freedom. So they created a constitution saying, we are the government by the people. Oh, they love everything about the kingdom because they know it works. And we say we don't want to. Laws are built inherent in nature. If there is anything you get from this podcast today, it should be from that statement. Laws are built or inherent in nature. Everything you see, when a farmer picks up a seed, the laws of God is built into that seed. The farmer just has to understand it. He doesn't have to do anything. The farmer cannot tell the seed, look, I want to put it on the ground today, tomorrow I need an harvest. It's not going to happen. That means that farmer is not living in reality. Laws have built-in success and failure mechanism. This is because principles never change. Knowing the laws will make you smart. Applying the law continuously will give you result. Not what the world out there called luck. And that's why you will find out that if you are an Hebrew scholar, you will know the word luck has no meaning in Hebrew language. I'm talking about biblical Hebrew. There are some version of Hebrew out there that I don't know where they come from. It's just like English language, various translations. You can just imagine one word means so many things and confusing people. For example, there are laws for building a successful and long-lived marriage. There are laws for raising fantastic children that will grow into model citizens. There are laws for building a thriving business with momentum. There are laws for investing safely and securely and building a steady wealth over time. There are laws for building great friendship that you can turn into profitable clients in your business. There are laws for building relationship with mentors and coaches for evil days, when you need answers to some questions that you cannot answer for yourself. All those laws, they are there. You just have to discover them and apply them. Things will work for you. So every aspect of our lives is guided by laws. And those laws comes from God. Those who does not want anything to do with our Creator, they will always fail. What you see at the moment is as a result of people who says, we want to rule ourselves by majority, but not by our conscience. And if you don't know and understand these laws, your life will be in perpetual stagnation. And you can easily get yourself into lots of trouble. And most times, your children will be very loyal to your teachings and lifestyle. Laws produce judges. Laws are there forever to prevent crisis and chaos in our homes, in our communities, in our nation. When a person breaks a law, a judge can do two things: put that person in jail or execute that person, or show the person leniency, which means mercy. A judge can decide to exercise clemency, but the judge did not destroy the law. He decided not to apply the penalty of the law. When you enjoyed the privilege of clemency, the judge always says this before you leave the courtroom: don't you ever come in my courtroom again. Meaning, go back in the community and don't break the law again. Mercy was given to keep laws, not in exchange for it. Never make law the enemy of mercy. Mercy is the best friend law has. This is because without mercy, the person will be in jail or executed. So next time, for example, when you ask your government to do something for you and your government is confused, why? Because you are an illegal immigrant, a person that is against the law. You are demanding the citizens' rights, rights that are not for lawbreakers. Yeah. You go to the king, anytime you have problem, you go to the kingdom of heaven, say, Father, help me. I am in trouble. But all the part of your life, maybe last 30 years of your life, you never obey one laws in the kingdom. Not out of ignorance, you just choose that, look, this is too hard for me to obey. I just want to have no sexual restraints. I just want to have babies. When the going gets tough, I just want to disappear to another part of the world where they will not see me again. Now, you can't have mercy unless law is present, because law creates penalty and mercy is the leniency of the penalty. Law is more important than mercy because it can't exist without law. I have been so fanatic in checking every move I make and still working very hard not to fall victim of the laws in the environment where I'd find myself intentionally. I may not intentionally do that. It's very, very important. I remember there was a time when, at the height of my IT consulting, I've often been sent to other countries to fix problems, and because I build corporate service that drive corporate businesses across the world, and there was a time I was in Saudi Arabia. The law there is very strict. In fact, before we traveled, we get some guidelines from the British Embassy. It tells us that you are not supposed to read your Bible in the public. Yes, I read my Bible in my hotel room. If you're a lawbreaker, just imagine if I break the law trying to say, well, I serve the God of our Creator, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel. Who are you to tell me not to read my Bible? They would just bundle me up. I would be in jail. And my life could be ruined. I do my best to avoid, like a plague, those who flagrantly play games with the laws. Why? It is contagious. You can just get yourself in the wrong place at the right time. You can easily find yourself in trouble. So your association really matters. Freedom without law is anarchy. True freedom comes with restrictions and some restraints to guide your path. For example, you can say, kids, you can play around in the house, but don't go into that chair. You can play in the garden, but don't go in the streets. But if you have not raised those children with internal self-discipline, the greatest gift parents can ever give to a child from early ages, things don't work out very well. If you are of Judeo-Christian faith and you have a relationship with the Bible, there is an account in the creation where God told Adam in the Garden of Eden that you can eat from any tree in the garden, but the tree of good and evil you must not touch. Remember what happened to Adam when he disobeyed God? It was very bad. So be very careful who is leading you in your life's journey. Find people of good character and rebuild your life and destiny. Get your life lined up with the laws of where you live, especially the laws of nature. Prove that you love country by your lifestyle that is perpetually in obedience to law. Obedience means you do it even when you don't understand it. Every country loves law-abiding citizens. Obedience to law makes you bold and fearless to build a truly successful life, business, investments, great relationship, and so on. Happy warriors. That is the savage truth. So all across the world you have been witnessing the calm before a transformative storm. It is coming. People who have been sleeping in slumber, they are waking up. They're saying now enough is enough. We're going to take back our society, take back our country. Remember, progress is possible but not guaranteed. But you must fight for it with all your conscience, that you will live the future of your society in a much better shape by the time you complete this leg of your journey here on earth. Propaganda, pressing and advocating private agendas without facts, context, and reality is not education. Principles never change. Remember, knowing the laws will make you smart. Applying laws consciously will give result and not luck, because there is no such thing as luck. When something happened good for you, investigate it, you will know why. When something evil happened to you, investigate it, you will know why. That's why in Hebrew, there is no meaning for the word luck. So, freedom without restraint is guaranteed to get you in trouble, as most of your decision will not be made by your conscience, but by majority of those you blindly follow. That is the spirit of Happy Warriors. So if you wish to become a member of our Happy Warriors Inner Circle, please go to our website right now, ntsl.com/3%. That is 3 and as in percent, PERCENT. ntsl.com/3%. So in life, it is what you don't know that is holding you back. So you have to be wise, be a learner every day. And if you need help in dealing with challenges of life, like the thing we've just been talking about today, or scaling your business, please consider having a one-to-one coaching session with me. The website is ntsl.com/private. Remember, NTSL is where wisdom lives, because success is 80% wisdom. And if you have wisdom, you will have your world under your control. That is all we have time for today. So I want to thank you for listening. Please let me know your number one takeaway from this show. Until next show, I wish you a passionate and profound growth in your families, in your friendship, in your finance, in your fitness, of course, as well in your faith. This is David Eyiangho. Remember, NTSL coaching is a safe place in an unsafe world. You stay safe and you stay blessed.